The cargo was worth more than 10,000 pounds, nearly $2 million in today's money. This event became known as the Boston Tea Party. Citizens awoke the following morning to an awing sight. Hundreds of busted wooden boxes littered the shoreline. The water still had a tan tint to it. John Adams wrote, "The destruction of the tea was so bold, so daring, so firm, so intrepid and inflexible, it must have important consequences." And it did. Revenge and justice were on King George III's mind, and Britain's heavy-handed response would fuel resistance in all 13 colonies.
Parliament responded in 1774 with the Coercive Acts, which, among other provisions, closed Boston's commerce until the British East India Company had been repaid for the destroyed tea. Colonists in turn responded to the Coercive Acts with additional acts of protest, and by the convening of the First Continental Congress, which petitioned the British monarch for repeal of the acts and coordinated colonial resistance to them. The crisis escalated, and the American Revolutionary War began near Boston in 1775.
Whereas dangerous insurrections have been fomented in the town of Boston to the utter subversion of His Majesty's government and the utter destruction of the public peace, be it enacted that no goods or merchandise whatever be transported to or brought from any other colony or country. Be it enacted that for the suppression of riots and tumults, all disturbers of the King's peace are to be transported to England for trial. Any British soldier or officer charged with a capital crime will in like manner be transported out of the colony to receive a fair hearing. Be it enacted that for better regulating the government of Massachusetts, the present council is to be immediately disbanded. Be it enacted that Royal Army officers are authorized to quarter their troops among the citizenry. General Thomas Gage is hereby dispatched with 4 of our regiments to compel compliance with all these measures.
Parliament responds to the outrage of the Boston Tea Party with what the colonists term as the Intolerable Acts. Parliament called them the Coercive Acts, but we're going to use intolerable because we're Americans. And these Intolerable Acts placed Massachusetts under martial law, under military rule. Did 5 different things. Now, first of all, that it closed the Boston port until all of the tea was paid for. Second, it put Massachusetts, as I'd said, under military government. Third, the Quartering Act. Any British soldier accused of a crime will go back to Britain for trial. Now, this was especially insulting for the colonists who had given the perpetrators of the Boston Massacre a not guilty verdict. The colonists had not shown any indication that they couldn't be fair to the British soldiers. And then finally, the Quebec Act. This was kind of insult to injury. While the British are tightening up controls in Massachusetts, they actually allow the province of Quebec, which was taken from the French during the French and Indian War, they said, hey, you can have Catholicism as your official religion. And keep in mind that the British were very anti-Catholic at this time. So this was an outrage to the colonists in Massachusetts that while they are having the yoke put upon them, the folks in Quebec get to practice what is in their eyes a false religion.
the colonial soldiers are about to meet their first test. In a field outside Lexington, 77 militiamen have gathered to block the Redcoat advance towards Concord. John Parker, leader of the Minutemen, knows the British outnumber his forces 10-1. He doesn't expect to defeat them. He just wants to send a message. We're here, we have guns, and we're going to resist. Major John Pitcairn, who commands the British troops, doesn't want to fight in Lexington. Running behind schedule, his goal is to secure a bridge farther west in Concord, but Pitcairn is forced to respond to the Minutemen's blockade.